Prepared mentality here. I wanted to talk to you about why people don't prepare or either neglect to prepare. I know in these times there's so many distractions. We have distractions from social media, we have distractions on our jobs at work, we have distractions from our family, we have our own personal issues of distractions, right? But when it comes to preparedness and it comes to this area of emergencies and disasters, people often put it to the side or think they're going to get to it later. So I have a list of things and reasons why people neglect to prepare. Number one is optimism bias. Many people believe that disasters are unlikely to happen to them. And this normally happens, this normally takes place. People just don't understand. People don't recognize the safety and the emergency hazards that can affect them. And this can affect them on a major level. Until that hurricane hits your house, until that tornado is in your community, until that pandemic hits your family, until the flooding starts in the roads, you don't think about it. I like to make the analogy when you go buy a car and then you ride that car for a while, and then you start seeing the same car on the highway that you brought. You didn't recognize the car before. You didn't know what it really looked like. You didn't pay attention to all the details in it until you have that car. So it's kind of the same thing. Optimism bias. People just are unlikely going to have the motivation to start preparing if they've never experienced it. Procrastination is the second one. Emergency can be a time consuming and easy to put off area, especially in our daily lives, especially when we are going day to day, living paycheck to paycheck. It can get in the way, especially if it's not your lifestyle and especially if you're new to emergencies and disasters. But that's the point of this. We want this to be a way of life, a lifestyle, something that is second nature to you. But procrastination hinders a lot of people. Think of when you wanted to do something, when you wanted to read that book, or you wanted to take a trip somewhere, or you wanted to get something done in your household, and you didn't do it. It didn't get done. Was it because of procrastination? Maybe. But the same thing happens in the preparedness community. We want to start preparing and getting supplies. We want to get that emergency bag. We want to stock up on our first aid, but things happen, things come up. And that's what we are here at Prepare Mentality to help you with. Thirdly, cost. Now, people have this misconception that being prepared or having supplies costs a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, it can. But my motto is start where you are. You don't need the latest and greatest things. Most likely, you have most of the things you need in your household, in your local area. You have mostly what you need, whether it's a flashlight, whether it's a first aid kit, whether it's a backpack, whether it's bottles of water, whether it's canned goods. Start where you are. Look in your pantry, look in your closets. Start getting things together. What would I need in an emergency? Get a folder together with important documents. These are the things that will help in progression to you getting something expensive that you may or may not need. Now, there are extremes out there that there's a whole consumer area for people to buy emergency and preparedness items, right? But this is not that. I want you to start with the basics. Start brand new, especially if you're introducing people to this. If you're introducing a family member, if you're introducing a friend to get ready, start preparing. You just need the basics, right? And starting with the basics, I'm going to put my book out there, right? This book, I Have Clarity, The Keys to Effective Situational Awareness, will get you on the right path. This is going to help you start your situational awareness because it starts in our mind first. It doesn't start with things, right? We can have all the things in the world and don't know how to use them. But if we have our mindset ready and our mentality is geared towards safety and looking out for emergencies and being ready for the unexpected, then that's going to help us greatly. Go and get it. It's on Amazon right now. It's not costly, but this book is more of a guide to help you and get you started. Have you thinking about scenarios. Think about your location. Think about when you travel. Think about, you know, when you start to go certain places. This book is going to help you. Fourth, lack of knowledge. Now, some people may not know how to prepare or what steps to take leading to preparedness. Again, that's what this channel is for you to take those baby steps. This is not, a sprint, it's a marathon. And I like to tell people that all the time because they think that things are going to happen overnight. You're going to understand everything. You're going to understand all the types of emergencies and disasters. You're going to understand what you need, what you don't need. You're going to have everything you need. But it just doesn't happen that way. Most of the time, you're going to have trial and error periods where you'll find out that you don't need a lot of stuff, or you'll find out that the plan that you had doesn't work for where you are. So little things like that is going to help you in your knowledge. Reading books like mine will help you in your knowledge. Reading other preparedness and emergency books that you can find at the library or on Amazon will help you in that knowledge. Talking to people in this community will also help you in that knowledge. Watching YouTube videos about preparedness and getting ready for disasters and safety will also help you. I think we hit on this a little bit with the procrastination, but complacency, right? If someone has never experienced a major emergency, they may be complacent and see no need to prepare. I touched on this already. If it doesn't happen to you personally, then you're just not going to do anything about it because it's not on your radar. Once it happens to you, then you start picking up the pieces, right? So I touched on that a little bit already. Number 6, preparedness may seem overwhelming and fear comes into play and stress comes into play. And that's what we don't want. The idea of preparing for all possible emergencies can be overwhelming and lead to paralysis analysis, right? And so you want to start small. You want to start thinking about your local area. What disaster, what emergency will affect me directly where I am? Whether it be a storm, whether it be floods, whether that be, the power goes out more than often than not, whether that be, I don't know, put any scenario where you are that really can affect your community. Start there. Start working your preparations around that. Space constraints. I know that issue comes up a lot with people not having enough space for their preps. Now, I've lived in condos, I lived in apartments, I lived in homes, single family homes. So I know every aspect of storage space and using your empty spaces the best way you can, whether that's under your bed, whether that be a closet, or whether that be a corner in a room, whether you get a shelf, you build a shelf, or buy a shelf. Um, but another thing people don't think about is storage units. You can now, it's going to come with a monthly fee, uh, but it is an option. It's a pretty good option if you don't have the room directly in your home to store your supplies and your preps. You can have a storage unit, a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, um, that you put your preps in, and or if you have an alternative location that you have set up in advance to either evacuate to or bug out to, you can have that storage unit in the middle of where you are and where you're going. That's another option. Um, Misplaced priorities. Now, again, we touched on this a little bit. People often prioritize immediate concerns, right? Their day-to-day activities, their responsibilities over the future, over uncertainty, right? So I think here in Prepare Mentality, we want to make sure that we are ready and we have the mindset that when the unexpected happens, we don't have to be concerned. We don't have to prioritize certain things because everything isn't set up for us. Everything is ready, right? We're pre-gaming our intentional actions. We are structuring our plans to complement our future goals in emergencies and disasters. So misplaced priorities should not be a thing, but it is for some people. So prioritize what you need to prioritize, right? Don't let preparedness and safety and buying a lot of things get in the way of your daily life, right? You still want to live a fulfilled, happy, safe, clean life. But it should be on your radar. And last one I have here is cultural factors. In some cultures, there may be a attitude towards preparing or disasters or getting ready, or a bias, a negative bias, because of what they see on TV or what they see on social media, that may or may not be realistic for a lot of people. So that reduces the motivation for people to prepare. And like I said, a lot of that stuff is entertainment. A lot of that stuff is not real world for a lot of people. Again, focus on the basics. Focus on what you know and what you can continue to learn, right? It's all a learning process. Sometimes it's a learning curve. But the more you get information, the more you practice, the more you research, the better you'll get, the better it will get, the better your preparation and planning will get for you and your family. I think that's the most important thing, is getting better over time, progress over time. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get stressed out, because we want this to be fun. We want this to be an opportunity to gain knowledge. We want this to be something that you can gravitate towards for the rest of your life, because emergencies do happen. We see that in the news every day. Disasters happen, whether it's man-made or natural, right? Whether it's planned or unplanned, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in our future, right? So the best way that we can be ready is to prepare ourselves. And there's no greater time than to start now. So I hope this helps you guys out a little bit on why people often neglect to prepare for emergencies. All right. I want you guys to be safe, be healthy, stay blessed. It's Prepare Mentality.